Last time I showed you how to trade a double top and the breakout of the neckline and this whole setup as such. And I mentioned that you have it prepared in school. This is that school, on the Break Retest website. Here you have the patterns, here you have the trading of the double top, and here the strategy is precisely described, what it consists of, how it is composed, what should be done, that it goes 1-to-1, and so on. And then we have another breakout, and these are the formations that we want to trade. And here, for example, it was for the short here, and the strategy is described. And again, it is clearly described here how to search for what, including things you should not trade, and including some examples of how it should look on the chart. The drawn example tends to be a little different from the chart now, so you can see it on the chart as well. This means that all these things are zoomed in, and now I'm also creating videos for you, which means for each action, or actually each page, strategy, description, I'm recording a separate video to make it more understandable, easier to read, and simpler to comprehend. So here, you have things like how I actually arrived at this trade, how it is searched for. All of this is beautifully described here. There are many strategies here. There are more things here that you can look forward to. There are double tops, double bottoms, various correlations, different strategies, including the most commonly used ones, false breaks and so on, various formations, and what I look for in the market, what has a reason to trade, what keeps repeating, is beautifully described here. So you have the school of the very basics worked out, where the trend is simply important, which is extremely important even though it is repeated many times. It is very well described here, including candlestick formations, which we demonstrated, thanks to which we actually entered the trade, the short trade, because it was this engulfing pattern. Or where exactly should the double top reach? This means here you have described where it should theoretically reach. This means the size of the formation should at least go 1-to-1 with the size of the entire double bottom formation. How to recognize what you need to have there, that you must end with some signal. That perhaps a divergence is also good there. Where to look for that divergence? I will show you what I am talking about. Divergence is. Actually, here you have one shoulder, two shoulders. Of the double top, and between them, the price slightly goes up here. And when we look at the indicator, it goes down, which means there is some divergence happening here. And all of this is described in the school. This means that you have all of this as study materials there. What to look for, to recognize. Because we know it's much better to trade in the direction of the trend. And if we trade against the trend, it must be done with caution. You can't just enter anywhere, but you must be almost sure, not always completely sure, but almost sure that you are doing the right thing. This means that there really must be a reason, and it could indeed be a counter-trend trade, which requires me to be much more cautious. So all of this, I just mentioned some school, is on the Breaker Test website. So all of this, I just mentioned some school, is on the Breaker Test website. Here is all the information you need for it.